Talking with the experts.
In episode 395, Dave Berman discusses how we need to keep our mind more quiet by understanding our mental immune system.
Yeah. Well, you're actually talking about something that is sort of separate, but also very familiar to me. In the field of hypnosis, we learn about hallucinations. And there's two kinds. There's positive and negative hallucinations. And it's got nothing to do with like judgment or whether it's like something that we desire and might think of as positive or something that we want to avoid and might think of as negative. It's not that. A positive hallucination is the kind that most people are familiar with, where something that's not there seems to be there. Like you see spots on the wall or whatever, right? Like we perceive something that's not objectively present, and we could
Talking with the experts.
Talking with the Experts would love to acknowledge Global Glamping Charities Incorporated for generously supporting this podcast. Global Glamping Charities, solving homelessness in all of its forms. Reach out to them at globalglamping.org.
Welcome to Talking with the Experts. This is where we discuss great ideas to take your business to the next level. How do we know these ideas work? Well, it's because we're talking with business owners who are using these ideas. Business owners who have years of experience and expertise. All things business by business owners for business owners. And now, here is your host, Rose Davidson.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. I'm your host, Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners. You can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. Tell me, do you know what a mental immune system is? Well, I don't either, so I'm just about to find out from my next guest, Dave Berman. Now, Dave's runs a coaching and consulting business, and he focuses his clients on learning from experience. Often the experience is laughing, while Dave considers his greatest teacher responsible for taking him around the world. Laughter shines your inner light on gifts you've always had but don't always see. And while laughter doesn't clear the mind, it helps you notice the mind clears itself, which is the mental immune system in action. Now, I don't know what it is. I'm looking forward to having a discussion with Dave. Welcome to today, Dave, and thank you so much for being here. And I'm wanting to learn all about the mental immune system.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for inviting me on your show, Rose. And like that little intro said, it's best to learn from experience. So you and really everybody already has experience noticing the way that your humanity has introduced you to many kind of autocorrect functions. And one obvious example would be if you try to hold your breath for a really, really long time.
Oh, no, I'd probably faint.
Well, okay, I'm glad you said that. Do you really believe that? Have you ever seen anybody hold their breath until they faint?
No. I can just imagine the lack of oxygen would make them faint.
But that's not actually what happens. We can try it. Like, let's learn from experience.
No, thank you.
You will not faint. And it's really important. It's really important to realize this, to have a solid knowing, right? An understanding that actually we cannot hold our breath until we faint.
Probably your brain will tell you that you need to take a breath of air. It's
you gas.
Like trying to drown yourself. It's, although not impossible, you can do it, but your brain would be wanting the oxygen.
It's more than just your brain, like your entire body Like you will gasp for air before you will pass out. This is one example of how we are made, humans are made with built-in autocorrect functions. Here's another one. You've had this experience. You've stayed up and it's way too late. And you're trying to keep your eyes open. You're really tired, but you really want to stay awake, but you're really tired and you really want to stay awake. And what happens? What eventually happens?
I go to sleep.
You just fall asleep. Yeah. Like you cannot stay awake indefinitely because your body has this built-in autocorrect mechanism that will just allow you to fall asleep if you try to stay awake too long. And it's not the same amount of time all the time, and it's not the same for everybody, you know, but the duration is not the same for everybody, but the experience, right? Everybody will just fall asleep eventually. So how about when you really need a toilet and you really need it and you really need it and you gotta wait, just like
I just wet myself.
You can only hold it for so long, right? Like your bladder will reach a maximum and then it will relieve itself. Right? These are just examples that we can all relate to from experience of built-in autocorrect mechanisms. Right? That's what our immune system is. You know, if we get a cut on our finger and a scab forms, we get an infection and like the cells will attack it. Like we have so many frames of reference for understanding what it means to experience autocorrect. But a new one that a lot of people aren't familiar with, and it's not new in our experience, it's just that it's new to talk about it. It's new to notice it, is the mental immune system. So back in that intro, what did it say about the mind clearing?
If you laugh, it clears your mind. Well,
Yeah,
while
but it's
laughter
not
doesn't clear the mind, it helps you notice that the mind clears itself.
The mind clears itself. Yeah.
How does it do that?
That's its nature. Just like it's our nature as humans to sleep and to urinate and to keep breathing, right? It's the nature of the mind to quiet itself. But we just often don't realize this, and we are trying to solve a problem with more of the same thinking that created the problem in the first place.
Maybe that's why I can stare off into
so
space and not have anything on my brain.
Say again?
I said, maybe that's the reason I can stare off into space and not be thinking about anything. I can stare in space and my husband says, what are you thinking about? And I said, I'm not thinking of anything. And he says, but that's impossible. Yeah. And I said, no, it's not. I can actually stare at the television and not be thinking of anything.
Yeah.
Exactly. And zone right out. Like there's no sound, no anything.
Yeah. Well, you're actually talking about something that is sort of separate, but also very familiar to me. In the field of hypnosis, we learn about hallucinations. And there's two kinds. There's positive and negative hallucinations. And it's got nothing to do with like judgment or whether it's like something that we desire and might think of as positive or something that we want to avoid and might think of as negative. It's not that. A positive hallucination is the kind that most people are familiar with, where something that's not there seems to be there. Like you see spots on the wall or whatever, right? Like we perceive something that's not objectively present, and we could call that a positive hallucination. And what you just referred to is the other one, the negative hallucination, where things that are objectively present, we just aren't perceiving them in that moment. The noise from the television, for example, or the temperature of the air on your skin. Like we can sort of delete these things from our perceptual awareness. It's a natural thing that we all experience. And then you come back into your awareness. This is also part of how the mental immune system works. There's this self-correcting nature to our perception, to our awareness. And the most valuable but sort of unnoticed one that has so many benefits for business is to discover that the mind gets quiet on its own. That we often are living in misunderstandings about how the mind works. And one of the greatest ways to discover this is through the experience of laughter. So talking about it, like, that only gets us so far, because it's all, talking, it's like, oh, we're just thinking about it. We need to notice this in our experience to really sort of integrate and internalize what is there to be discovered. It's there already and we don't notice it, right? It's like we negatively hallucinate it. But when we discover it in our experience, it's so powerful as a way of learning and growing.
I have to put you in touch with one of my other guests. She lives in Canada, and her thing is laughter is the best medicine. She teaches laughter yoga, and she's an absolutely wonderful person. And she's you and her would get on a treat, I reckon.
Maybe not. Laughter yoga is something I explored a lot years ago and found that it's like the tip of an iceberg. If you imagine an iceberg, the tip is the tiny part that's above the water. And if you dive down deeper, there's so much more to laughter than laughter yoga. Laughter yoga is very much about techniques, and there's a lot of traditions and culture around it that's like unnecessarily limiting. That's why.
Oh no, she's not into that way. She just she does other things, but she's amazing. I'll actually put you in touch with her after this. And,
all right.
Introduce you.
Case, the way it looks to me is your infinite laughter supply is always available. What is laughter? Laughter is the sound of joyful breathing. You're breathing all the time anyway. You don't need any kind of external prompt. You don't need, really, no, you don't need laughter exercises. You don't need comedy or jokes or humor. You're born with infinite laughter within you. And when you allow it out,
makes you feel better.
All sorts of things. Of course it makes you feel better. Would you like to laugh a little bit and see what you notice about the mind?
Go on then. Make me laugh.
I'm not going to make you laugh. I'm going to invite you to allow the laughter within you to come out.
Oh, okay. Oh, you can stop it. Let's all those lovely endorphins out. Love that. I love to laugh. Makes me feel heaps better, even if I'm in a grumpy mood.
It's true, but I notice you talking about the laughter rather than laughing. And that's okay. That's okay. What do you notice? What do you notice if you just allow yourself to experience the laughter within coming out?
Well, this makes me feel good. I have less wrinkles on my face. I'm not thinking about anything in particular except the joy of the moment.
So what do you reckon would be the most obvious way that a business team might begin, just for starters? How would they start to notice the benefits of laughing and having a quiet mind?
If they have a quiet mind, I think they'd be less stressed and be more productive.
Yeah, for starters, for sure. Yeah. You know, when I say that your infinite laughter supply is always available, it turns out if it's true about laughter, it's true about life. So your infinite creativity supply is always available too. Your infinite resilience supply, your infinite confidence supply, and spontaneity and playfulness, and so much more. It's all there to be seen, but we don't always see it, right? This negative hallucination that you brought up in the beginning, it's really common.
It's true. We
And
get so
we don't
wound up in
always
our own
notice.
lives. Sorry, Dave. We get it so caught up in our own lives.
Thought you're talking about?
Yeah, we don't think about releasing and letting the brain quiet itself. We need to have to be thinking all the time.
Yeah, and it's not true. And we have this gift of this self-correcting mechanism. We see it in all the other examples I was just pointing to. And it's true for the mind as well. When we get out of the way, it's not that laughter is necessary to quiet the mind. Laughter doesn't quiet the mind. It helps you notice the mind quiets itself. But you can notice it through all sorts of experiences. You gave the example of just zoning out with the television. For some people, that might be really hard. For some people, laughing, from the inside out, laughing on purpose in the beginning seems hard. And that's okay, because it's just experience to learn from. It helps us see the way thought is getting in the way.
Yeah, we need to get out of our own ways a lot of the time, and just let things be and be present in the actual moment of time that you're in, and stop worrying about what could be or what has been.
Yeah, you can never worry hard enough to solve anything.
No.
And we talked about this once before, you and I, on a panel discussion, the idea that progress is the result that occurs when we stop making trouble for ourselves. When we get out of our own way, that autocorrect occurs, and what we notice is the progress.
Yeah, self-sabotage is one of the worst things of the human condition, I think.
And one of the biggest examples of self-sabotage is overthinking.
Yes, definitely.
You can't think your way out of a thought-generated problem.
No, that's true. It's got to be something that's tangible. If there's a problem that's tangible, then yes. If you can touch it, feel it, taste it, and it is a problem, then yes, you can fix that. But if it's something that you've created because you've been overthinking something and made a mountain out of a molehill, then no, you can't.
Yeah. And it looks to me like most of the challenges that businesses face, things like team building or better teamwork, more productivity, better customer service, more sales, all of these things are so much more likely when we approach them from a place of understanding. The mind will quiet itself. And to quote one of my teachers, Jamie Smart, he says, when you've got nothing on your mind, you're free to give your best. I think this is also something else we know intuitively. Like, I am so much better at being me. I'm so much more effective in my work when my mind is quiet rather than when my mind is all busy.
That's where my epiphanies come from, is when my mind's quiet and I'm not thinking about anything. And I think, right. Oh my God, why didn't I think of that before? Or the solution to a problem is when I've quietened my mind and I'm not thinking of anything, because you're not having to process all this information. And so your brain can actually sort itself out, as you said, and work the problem out for itself.
Yeah. And the way you're describing it now, it sounds a lot like tapping into your infinite creativity supply. You
I
said,
have,
I get
yeah.
my biggest inspirations and insights when my mind is quiet. Yeah. When you have access to the creativity that's already there inside you, then you notice more new ideas, creative ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, get rid of the rubbish in your head and let new stuff come in. It's good.
Yeah. And this will happen automatically when we develop an understanding of this mental immune system. And so, hand in hand with that is the idea of temporary, innocent misunderstandings. There's no need for fault or blame or guilt or shame or regret when there's an innocent misunderstanding. And what allows a misunderstanding to just sort of dissolve is a new understanding. So a new understanding about how the mind works, that it quiets itself, that you've got this infinite creativity supply and resilience and confidence and so much more. This is a new way of looking at the experience of being human that will allow any team to be more accepting and understanding of each other and cooperative with each other, to create and be more productive together, to serve the customer better without a need to ever like make them wrong and make yourself right. It's all just temporary, innocent misunderstandings. We're all doing the best we can according to our level of understanding moment to moment. So when our understanding changes and our mental immune system is active and updating and doing what it does for us all the time, even when we're not noticing it, we get better outcomes.
Absolutely, yes. If you just stop fighting the system and
The
just
system,
go
yeah.
with the flow, we'll be fine.
Yeah. And so this is the tip of the iceberg. This is an introduction to what laughter can reveal to us, but we don't need the laughter to be the pointer to what's already there. Anything can help us expand our awareness of what's already there. Just so happens for me, laughter is what's revealed more than anything else to me and been a fun and pleasurable and health supporting way of connecting with people and exploring with people and inviting them to discover what's there that you didn't notice before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like going out when I go outside and I just have a look around, even in the yard, and I discover, a new flower or a new bird or a new fly or a new whatever, and it really excites me because I think, oh my God, why didn't I notice that before?
Yeah. But you don't need to apply any fault or blame or guilt or shame for having not seen it before. You can just celebrate, oh, wow, I've noticed something new and different. And
Absolutely.
there's always new and different things about the human experience there for us to just notice. Laughter just happens to be a great way of noticing what's there to be noticed.
Yes, and it's funny when everyone's laughing and then someone just laughs harder because they find the situation of everyone laughing funny.
Yeah. I mean, laughter is contagious like that. It's more contagious than any virus, and it's got symptoms you can always see or feel, So like, I'm not saying treat COVID with laughter, but I'm saying, laughter could be even more powerful to the human race.
Yeah, it's pity we didn't laugh more often, actually. Wouldn't be a
Well,
lot of
that's how I spent my pandemic time, was laughing, just laughing. I mean, it wasn't like I just began then either. I've been laughing every day for almost 12 years at this point, but during like the first year of the pandemic, was laughing more than ever before in my life with more people than ever. And it's so powerful. It impacts everybody. And
Yes.
and it seems like the less familiar and the less aware you are that you have this infinite laughter supply always available, the more it's going to impact you to start exploring it. It seems like that. But the truth is, I'm aware of that, and I've been exploring it every day for 12 years, and I keep discovering more things new and different that I hadn't noticed before. It's infinite. Your infinite laughter supply is always available, and it will always help you notice new and different things.
It does, because it quietens the mind.
Well, not quite, but it helps you notice the mind quiets itself.
Okay. Thank you.
That's the whole point of our talk here today, I think, is really seeing, and I think it's the fact that we're talking about it and not laughing quite so much that allows that temporary innocent misunderstanding to persist. Oh yeah, one of the great things about laughter is it quiets the mind. Well, not quite, but it helps you notice the mind quiets itself, and if you laugh, you'll find the difference between the two.
Okay, I'll stand corrected. Dave, where can people find you if they want to know more about the mental immune system?
DaveBermanCoaching.com. That's my website. I'm on many social media platforms, but contact me through the website and you'll see some of the programs that I offer and ways that we can work together or play together, really explore.
Yes.
Yeah, we're exploring breath and sound. Laughter is the sound of joyful breathing.
It is, yes, it is. Yeah. And you know, the sound of a child laughing is, I think, one of the sweetest sounds there is, because it's so innocent and they laugh just so randomly because they can.
Because it doesn't depend on anything. We see babies all over the world laughing before they learn to speak their native language and before they're intellectually capable of making sense of what's funny or why something's funny. Their infinite laughter supply is already available to them. For anybody who may doubt as an adult that you have it, we're all born with it. And the more you laugh on purpose, the more life shows you reasons to laugh. It's just there already.
Wise words. Very wise words. Thank you, Dave, for sharing your wisdom with us today. I really do appreciate it. It's opened my eyes to remember to laugh more and stop being so serious. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining me today. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Rose.
You've been listening to Talking with the Experts, hosted by Rose Davidson. Make sure you have a look at our back catalogue over at talkingwiththeexperts.com. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any episode. We look forward to your company next time. Talking with the Experts.